Hello everybody, my name is Robert and this is Review Clue. Following me for any amount of time, you will know that I love my smart home gadgets. In particular, I love stuff that works with HomeKit because I love automating it through shortcuts. You can check out some shortcut videos up there or in the description down below. Unfortunately, these products only work with a service called Smart Life. This is all well and good, but it does mean that if I want to control these, I can't control it through HomeKit, and it makes it quite difficult to actually control because I have to use that separate application. Well, no more. This is where Homebridge comes in. Homebridge is a completely open source way for you to bridge the gap between normal smart home products and HomeKit with Apple. We're going to be taking a look at how easy it is to set up on a Raspberry Pi and just how you can connect all your smart home together in one place. So let's get right into it. But of course, if this is the first time that you're seeing my face on your screen, then one, lucky you, and two, go down there, smash that subscribe button, smash that bell notification icon so you get notified every time I upload. I've got a lot of content coming up and something pretty exciting for you guys. Anyway, let's get right into it and discuss what you're going to need to be able to start with Homebridge. So of course, you're going to need a device to run Homebridge off of. This could be anything. They have Dockers, so this can be run remotely off of a server or the cloud through AWS or something similar. Or you can run it off of something like this, a Raspberry Pi. And this is going to be my choice for the moment, just because these are cheap as chips, they're really easy and they're hosted locally as well. So you know all of the data that you're putting onto this thing is safe. So I've gone with the Raspberry Pi Zero here, just because of how small it is and it has built-in Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. There are other models, and I'll link all of them down below if you're interested. So what we can go ahead and do is we'll place that off to the side. We will also need a micro SD card, 4 GB or bigger, to set all of this up. I would suggest having a laptop or a Mac nearby just so you can mount this new image and download it. Once you've done that, you really don't need the laptop. You can manage everything through an iPad or your iPhone or something similar. So let's get right into how you're going to be setting this up on your laptop. Let's go. So here we are on the GitHub page for Homebridge. This is the Raspbian image. Because we're going to be installing this on the Raspberry Pi, I'm actually going to be writing the Homebridge OS to it. So I'll link this in the description down below. All you realistically have to do is hit that download button to download the zip file. I've already done this, so I'm not going to bother doing so. Unzipping that, you'll find an image file in there. You'll then need to flash this image to an SD card. So the way to do this, or the easiest way to do this, is with a piece of software called Etcher. Etcher is really easy to use, trust me. All you need to go ahead and do is find the image that you want to use. This will be the image that you just unzipped. Choose the device that you want to write it to. I highly suggest unplugging all other removable storage and just having the micro SD card that you want to write to, because this is going to remove all data off of it and you don't want to accidentally do the wrong device. So once you've done that, simply hit flash and boom, it's done. As soon as that is done, we can go ahead and just pop the micro SD card into the Pi like that. Connect it up to Ethernet if you decide to do so. This particular model doesn't have Ethernet, but you can get Pis with that. So plug in that Ethernet, plug in the power, and then give it 2 to 3 minutes and that will be all set up for you. That's literally all you need to do to set up Homebridge. From there we can go to our web browser, connect up and find out what we can do. So let's just stop the laptop. We don't need this anymore. You can completely do this off of a laptop if you decide to, but I'm going to be running off of my iPad because everything's just easier on the iPad. So let's close that down and come over to the iPad here. So here we are in Safari. I know by default that my Homebridge is set to 192.168.1.121. This is the local IP address for my Homebridge. This will change based upon where it is on your network. So there are a couple of ways that you can find the IP address for this, and I'll leave them in the description down below. Once you've done that, and you log into the website through that IP address, you'll be launched into the username and password screen. Now by default it will be admin. I've obviously changed mine to be something different because, well, you don't really want to keep the default username and password for something like this. So let me just log in here, start up Homebridge. you'll see a couple of different widgets here that I'll quickly talk you through. So on the left hand side, we've got the QR code and the digit code that you can use to connect this up to your Home application. You can just scan this with Home by adding a new accessory. It will note that this is an unsupported accessory. That's fine, don't worry about that, just accept it, and that's your Homebridge set up with this. We can see along the top that I am up to date and that all of my plugins are up to date as well. We can see the CPU load, the memory load, and also how long this has been up, as well as some generic information. We can change how this looks, and we'll do that a little bit later, but first off, let's get into plugins. This is how you're going to be controlling all of your different devices through plugins or pieces of code. So as we go to the plugin panel, we can search here for the plugins that we need. If there's a smart device out there, someone has most likely made a plugin for it. So most of my devices, as I've noted, run through the Toya Smart Life platform. So what we can do is we can just go to the tab here and search Toya. There are loads that show up here. Personally, I use this one, the Toya web platform here. This is the one that's verified, and it's the one that I found works best for me. So we would hit install. I've obviously already installed this one, and it will go through that install process really quickly. Or if we decide that we want to do it through a slightly different method, then we can do that as well. We can go to the three dots in the top corner, go to the terminal, and we just see the normal Raspberry Pi terminal, where we can do a sudo nmp, find the nmp package that we want to install, and it's done. It's really that simple. So we'll go back to that plugins page there. So let's go back to that plugins page there. Find the Toya web platform here and select settings. This is where we're going to be setting up each of our different services and devices. So the first thing you'll see is it's asking for a username and a password. In my case, my username is my phone number, so I'm not going to show that to you. Obviously, it's the same with the password. This is the username and password you've used in your Smart Life app to log in. Country code is the code that you use when you're with your phone number. So for the UK, it's +44. For America, I think it's +1. Just search that in there. For platform, we have a couple of different options. I always suggest going with Smart Life. You can go with Toya Smart if these are specific Toya Smart apps, but Smart Life will do it for me. We can then scroll down to the bottom, hit save. Once we've hit save, we have to restart the device just for all these devices to show up. So we can go up to the top, hit restart. This will take a minute or two, but once it's done, you'll be thrown straight back into that web UI that we've seen before. Okay, so there we go. That's all finished up now. And if we go to the accessories tab, we can see all of the new accessories that have shown up here, all of the different lights and plugs that are in my room. So these are all Smart Life ones at the bottom here, and I can select them to turn them on and off. That's really cool. So we can control it all from this web UI if we decide to. But of course, the whole idea with this was that it's set up with HomeKit. So if I pull down from the top, I select HomeKit, I select Home, we can see all of the different plugs and lights that are here. For example, I've got the office, the desk lamp, that will turn on and off now. And I'm genuinely surprised by how quick this is. Because it's already on my home network, sending that command is instantaneous. It's actually quicker than using the Smart Life app itself, which is sort of ironic, I guess. So that's literally it. That's all you have to do to set up all of these devices and get them all working together. Of course, plugins can come in all shapes and sizes. So if I go back to my plugins page, we can see that I've got one for the Xbox. So my Xbox will show up as a TV device. We have one for my Nest, for the Nest thermostat. We have some for the Magic Home, which is light strips and such. And we've obviously got the Toya web platform. As I get more and more devices, I'm sure this plugin list will grow and grow and grow. But if you are ever stuck and you don't know which plugin is best, there are really good communities out there on Facebook, Discord and Reddit that will help you to set up everything that you need, give you the best plugins for you, and help you to troubleshoot as well. So as a little bit of an Easter egg, let's go back to that status page and we can change how all of this looks. For example, I personally don't like having the logs there. So I can click that cog in the top corner and hit delete. I don't need to see those logs. If I then go down to the bottom here, I can unlock my layout to let me drag things around. But let's go back down to the bottom here and we'll go with accessories. So these are all of the accessories that I've got connected to my Homebridge right now. I can then also drag this out. I'm going to do that with my finger because it's probably going to be easier. So we can hold and drag to make this as big or as small as we need. So that's all cool. We've got all of our accessories there now. Personally, I don't need to see that QR code anymore. So I can tap the settings and delete. So Homebridge let's take that and put all of the CPU and such at the top here, because let's be honest, I'm not so worried about this. It's good information to know, but isn't going to save my life. So let's just show that my bridge is up to date. Same with the CPU, drag that up, drag my memory up, and the uptime we will pull up there as well. And just bring it slightly smaller so that it fits with the rest of it. So as I know, you could have this on an iPad, on an old iPad, or even an Android tablet, just sat somewhere in your house on a wall and have it as your command center. So there we go. Let's pull the accessories up here as well. Do you know what? That'll do. So I've set up here all my accessories along one side, as well as some of the information that I'm going to need for my HomeKit. And there we have it, guys. This has been my video on how to set up Homebridge, and just running you through some of the really simple accessories and plugins that you can use to connect all your devices in one place through Apple HomeKit. If you're having any problems or just have any questions at all, let me know in the comment section down below and I will do my best to answer them. Anyway guys, my name's been Robert, this has been Review Clue, and I will catch you in the next one. Adios.